Alright. Intro is almost done. Good grief. Alright, folks. Triple Threat Wrestling Radio is about to be up and running. So, if you're listening on chillingbroadcasting.com, we just getting the final pieces together, and we should be live in a matter of moments. So, just sit back. Here we go. And hello, everybody, wrestling fans, and welcome to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio, which is pretty much the only show on ITMI Radio for the day, at least. I am Kenny C. Yeah, that's me. I'm joined with the man who didn't even bother doing his own show today, so he's just here with me. So I'm joined with Jeff. What's going on?
What's up, kids?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good, man.
So the Red Bastard show just taking a
little holiday. We're off today. We're off tomorrow. We're off Saturday. And we're off on Monday.
But there will be chilling with Jeff and Kenny C Saturday night.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for joining us. Shout out to my friend Andrew Browning Master out there in Kentucky.
What's up, Andrew? You freak, you.
Tonight we will recap the Raw Super Show, Super SmackDown, preview Impact, this day in wrestling history, and we have an interview tonight with indie pro wrestler Tara Calloway out there in Las Vegas. So that's pretty much all we got going on. Before I start the first segment, I want to congratulate Amber O'Neal, who was a guest on this show over a month or two ago. She now has her very own wrestling radio talk show, which sets to debut tonight. It's called Three-Way with Fire and Ice.
Three-Way?
Yeah.
I like that.
Three-Way with Fire and Ice, and she's going to be co-hosting alongside with former ECW wrestler Angel Orsini. That's on tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, right after Impact. It's on pw247radio.com. That's pw247radio.com. Just thought I'd show her some love and just start off with a plug there. Now, we can go and get to our first topic, the WWE portion of the show. And we start off with the Nash, Punk, and Triple H triangle feud. As you know, on Monday, Triple H announced that Kevin Nash was going to finally get the match that he wanted when he faced CM Punk at Night of Champions. However, by the end of the broadcast, Triple H reveals that his match with Nash and Punk match got canceled. Instead, you're gonna face, well, the Game himself, the boss. So people were wondering, is this part of the storyline? Something's happening. Well, here's what I know according to reports. Kevin Nash is yet to be medical clear to be in a match. Yeah, he's out there getting involved physically, but he hasn't been in a match since being debuted at SummerSlam, or coming back on SummerSlam, I should say. He's not even medical clear to compete in a match, which is why Nash has been removed from Night of Champions, and Triple H, according to reports, wasn't even scheduled to compete until Survivor Series in November. Well, because of what's going on with Kevin Nash, Triple H is going to have to wrestle 3-4 months early than anticipated. So this will be Triple H's first match in 6 months. The last time we saw Triple H was when he had the match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 27. No holds bar match. Of course, Taker went on to win the match despite getting probably one of the biggest ass whoopings of his career. and we have yet to see or heard from the Undertaker since WrestleMania. So who knows? He may be coming back at Survivor Series, pay-per-view that debuted his career. So yeah, how do you feel about Nash being replaced by Triple H? I mean, 3-4 months early than anticipated for Triple H.
I didn't think he was gonna come out and wrestle that quick either, man. But what are you gonna do? You know, he's got to do what he's got to do for the company.
Yeah. He's the boss. Hey, like I said, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Vince McMahon is the boss and he wrestles. Why not Triple H? And it's funny, they had the contract signing 24 hours later after that huge announcement. And for a second, I thought CM Punk was like the white Barack Obama, talking about change, change, change. I thought he was going to be arrogant and prick as usual, which he was. But to a certain extent, he had a point. WWE's been hit with the PG rating. It's time to, I don't know, change things up a little bit. Be a little bit more aggressive. It's going to be fun regardless, but, it's, I don't know. I don't know if cursing's gonna help or anything, because Punk do curse and Cena even curses too, but let's change things up a little bit. Not have to rely on John Cena to be at every single pay-per-view. Andrew, I have no idea where Fozzy is. He obviously, I don't know where he is. So. He's not ill. He's okay. He's okay. He just been playing some football and stuff. Well, the soccer version anyway. But Fozzie's good. He's not under the weather. He's all right. He just been missing some shows. He's here on chilling. He just hasn't been on the wrestling show. He just has some things to do.
Rat bastard.
So he has a life. So. It's going to be Triple H versus CM Punk, which I think is going to be the most talked about match of the night of Night of Champions. Other things that happened, of course, Evan Bourne, Kofi Kingston are the new tag team champions. Jerry the King Lawler went on to say that McGillicuddy and Otunga are the most boring tag team in WWE history. They were I would say probably the most irrelevant tag team in WWE history. They were relevant when the Nexus were around, but now that the Nexus has folded, they're just two guys that's trying to get airtime. One happens to be the husband of an R&B singer, Jennifer Hudson, and then you got
they talked about that last night.
Yeah,
Monday night. That was kind of funny.
And something tells me that
Jerry Lawler is about to kick somebody's ass.
Yeah,
that's what it tells me.
Hey, do not mess with Jerry King Lawler. Sure, he's more of an announcer these days, but that dude can still compete. Go back.
Am I right? He keeps antagonizing fucking Lawler. Lawler's gonna kick his ass, right?
I mean, ask Michael Cole. Ask The Miz. Okay? Do not let his announcing days fool you. The man is a Hall of Famer for a reason. What's going on, Ebo?
Hey, Eebs.
The
Eebster.
The Eebster. So yeah.
That's a good wrestling name.
Make her way to the wing from Ohio. The Eepster.
I like that. That's nice, right?
I think I have a nice ring to it. So yeah, Otunga, McGillicuddy, they try to show Jerry that they're not boring or whatever.
They need a good ass whipping though.
They need something to get their
and it's kind of nice that they lost the belts. I'm kind of happy about that. I kind of laughed my ass off because when they first actually lost the belts, that night, the first time when they lost the belts to those two guys, I was like, you gotta be shitting me. Well, whose dick did Evan Bourne suck to fucking win that?
What you got against Evan Bourne?
Come on, dude. The guy's about as tall as I am. For Christ's sake. The guy probably weighs as much as I do. What is he? 5'7", 145 pounds?
Okay, well, he is a small guy. There's no denying that. But the guy...
They could throw... You know something? If it was real, they'd toss him around like a little fucking doll. You know what I'm saying to you?
You know, Otunga and McGillicuddy are not necessarily based on their power.
No, Otunga, especially David Otunga.
Well, yeah.
Especially David Otunga, man. He's a dick. And I'd love to see Jerry the King Lawler. I would have loved to see Lawler when he stood up and the guy was leaning up, just smack him right in his face. Get the hell out of here, you punk.
So that may be very interesting. You know, who knows? They may end up having to face each other at Night of Champions. But then again,
I wouldn't mind that.
But then again, it is promoted that every single championship is going to be on the line. Here's the match.
Yeah, but that's not the only matches that are going to be going on, for Christ's sake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Here's what we know. Cena will take on Del Rio. Randy Orton, who had a great match with Christian at SmackDown this past Tuesday night.
That was a good match. Too bad Christian lost.
Now,
that match he's got coming up.
Yeah, he's going up against Mark Henry. Yeah, Mark Henry.
He's got a problem, dude.
Mark Henry is a beast. And Mark Henry said on Monday he has what is called the Hall of Pain. And we know who's inducted there. That would be Big Show and Kane.
Yeah, Mark whatchamacallit's got a fucking problem.
Yeah, Randy Orton, he got his hands full against Mark Henry.
He's got a major problem coming.
And Mark Henry's been in the WWE since the Attitude Era. He's been around for 15 plus years.
Mark Henry took care of him after that match was over with Christian, didn't he?
He didn't waste any time whatsoever.
No time, right?
Nah, he just... He wanted to send a message. That's what
he sent it, all right.
He sent it. Now
16 days, 23 hours, 47 minutes, and 33 seconds before the next pay-per-view.
Night of Champions is coming up. So, as for the other championships, who knows who the new tag team champions, Everborn and Kofi Kingston, is going to face. I have a feeling for the Divas title, I think Beth Phoenix is going to get her rematch, especially when Night of Champions is going to be at her hometown, Buffalo, New York. Intercontinental title currently held by Cody Rhodes. Don't know about that one. Don't know who's going to face him. U.S. title currently held by Dolph Ziggler. He may end up facing Swagger or Alex Riley or them both in a triple.
Swagger. What a douchebag.
Yeah, Vicky Guerrero was in a bit of a situation because obviously she and Ziggler are not on the same page. Not on the same page whatsoever, and then Jack Swagger has extended himself to have Vicky manage him. That didn't work out for Ziggler. He's an ego.
Jack Swagger's another fucking idiot.
You know, Swagger... It's funny, this guy was the World Heavyweight Champion about over a year and a half ago, and the guy's become an afterthought.
Who, Swagger?
Yeah.
He's a loser.
He was a former World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, the dude can compete despite his speech impediment.
Hey, what was with the deal with Kevin Nash coming out to his...
NWO music?
NWO music, yeah.
That's a lot of speculation leading up to Night of Champions. People are saying that there may be another NWO on the horizon. Now, when he came at the Royal Rumble...
Who's going to be, Six Pack or the other fucking dummy? Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon's I think he's in rehab right now.
He should be in fucking jail.
He's been in and out of rehab, I should say. But but if there is a NWO on the horizon, I don't expect Scott Hall.
Is it gonna be Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan in a wheelchair. That's actually
joke.
gonna. So yeah, obviously, WWE does have rights to the NWO theme song because they came for WCW. They got all
Well, yeah,
rights
well,
and everything.
well, I guess when he bought WCW, he bought the rights to everything.
Yeah. He and let's not forget ECW as well. Um, some other things to talk about. Let's see. Alberto Del Rio's been MIA. He wasn't
Who?
Alberto Del Rio. He wasn't on
Oh,
Raw.
fuck that Mexican.
He wasn't on Raw, and he wasn't on SmackDown.
He's afraid, man. He's hiding.
Who,
Pussy.
and speaking of shocks, how about what Sin Cara did to Daniel Bryan after he beat?
That motherfucker could jump around.
Yes,
man.
he
Holy
can.
Shit.
Sin Cara, man, he's like a.
That dude can fly.
Yes, he can. That dude. That was a heck of a match between he and Daniel Bryan. But Daniel Bryan's been struggling. He's losing a lot. He's got the Money to Bank briefcase. You know, it's a good thing that he's saying that he's cashing it in at WrestleMania next year. Because if he would have cashed it right now, he would not win. Dude's just been on a losing streak as of late. He needs to get it together. But Sin Cara, yeah, that dude can fly. He's like a video game. You just see him jumping and stuff. And not only that, after he defeated Daniel Bryan, he cheap shot at him. A kick to the face. So, I find that interesting what direction they want to go with him. I mean, he's been the good guy, high flyer, the Rey Mysterio mini-me. And now all of a sudden, he's going to be a bad guy. He hasn't even talked yet. He hasn't even got any microphone time. So, who knows what's going to happen with Sin Cara. So yeah, Christian had his last chance, didn't get the job done, so he's out of the title picture. Mark Henry is now in. What else happened this past week? Triple H's new movie. Yes, The Game is going to be back at a theaters near you called Inside Out. It's going to be coming out in September, probably right before the Vengeance pay-per-view. Actually, no. As a matter of fact, it's coming. It's going to be hitting theaters next week. Excuse me. Triple H's new movie called Inside Out. It co-stars Michael Rappaport. Speaking of WWE stars and movies and TVs, I just hear that The Miz, and that's the next person I'm going to get into in a minute. The Miz is going to guest star in the upcoming season of USA Series Psych. That show won't come back with a new season until October. But speaking of tag teams, what about the team of R-Truth and The Miz? Talk about an odd tag team, if you ask me. On one side, you got a man talking about how awesome he is. On the other, you got a guy who's talking about little Jimmys.
Little fucking Jimmy.
Little Jimmy. How is that tag team going to work? Now, they have had success. WWE has had success with awkward tag teams. Well, that's probably not a good way to describe, tag teams like Booker T and Goldust, Rock and Sock Connection. Probably tag teams with two different, perspectives. You got The Miz, who's flamboyant, outgoing, outspoken. And then you got guys like R-Truth, who's coming along as a heel. He's doing a good job as a heel. Yeah, and my favorite part, as Andrew types, conspiracy. C-O-N-spiracy.
Yeah, that's a great way to spell it, ain't it?
Yeah.
Fucking dummy.
Hey, at least he pronounced it right. I mean, give the brother a break. So there you go on that particular. It's gonna be interesting. Could Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston as tag team champions, could they end up facing Miz and Truth at Night of Champions? Since Otunga and McGillicuddy will be too busy dealing with Jerry Lawler. That's something to think about. Night of Champions is a couple of weeks away. So yeah, everything else will be championship matches. with the exception of Triple H and CM Punk. So that should be quite interesting. Now, how do you feel about WWE trying to have what is called the Raw Super Show, meaning superstars from both Raw and SmackDown going to be under one roof? You think it's good? You think mix things up a little bit, get some new rivalries, hopefully? I You might as well call it like it is, because normally they have shows like that. Only difference is it's a 3 hour show. Have superstars for Raw and SmackDown on Monday Night Raw. So I think it's a good idea, just as long as majority of the Raw superstars get their airtime, because it is their show. This ain't SmackDown. Now, speaking of SmackDown, I believe Sci-Fi is going to show the encore presentation tomorrow night. So in case you missed it, or you're going to see it again, the encore presentation of Super SmackDown will be on tomorrow night. So check that out.
That's gay the way they're doing that.
What do you mean?
They did the live show Tuesday night. They're gonna replay it Friday night, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, that's gay.
It's normally on Friday nights to begin with, and since
I know
since they have shown it, I don't know why they decided to have it on Tuesday to begin with.
Because that's the night they freaking do it anyway.
We all know that SmackDown is taped on Tuesdays,
right,
and then it shows on Fridays. But I don't know. They just something they wanted to do, considering it's back-to-back nights. And I guess it made sense because Raw had a super show on their show on Monday. So, and we didn't even know about the super show for Monday Night Raw until Triple H announced it at the top of the show.
Right.
And Triple H said that there's going to be more of these super shows often. So, we'll see how that goes. Hell, we just went through all this, the WWE part already. We went through everything. But keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. We're getting real close to Night of Champions. In 2 weeks from tonight, we'll make our picks for Night of Champions. In other WWE news, former WWE wrestler Kurt Angle is pissed off at the WWE. Last year, WWE released a DVD called The 50 Greatest Superstars of All Time. Now, this was determined by the current WWE superstars. And Kurt Angle was ranked at number 34. Kurt Angle and this DVD's been out for almost half a year now, and he hasn't heard about it until now. So Kurt Angle tweeted about it. He's not happy, and he asked WWE, remove me from the list. He thinks he should be a top 5 wrestler. Well, let's take a look at the wrestlers who is ranked in the top 5. Shawn Michaels at 1, Undertaker at 2, I believe Bret Hart is at 3, Rock is at 4. Shawn Michaels at 1, Undertaker 2, Steve Austin 3. So Austin, Rock, Austin, Austin, Rock, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. That's pretty much your top 5 right there. Kurt Angle did had a good one with the WWE until things fell through, and now he's part of Impact. Well, Kurt Angle, the DVD's been out for half a year now, and you say, "Oh, remove me from the list." Too late. It's been out for half of a year. Once again, the name of the DVD is called and it was controversial. They had Hulk Hogan, who's probably the most popular wrestler of all time. They had him ranked at number 21, not even close to the top 10. John Cena, he was ranked at number 16. Jeff Hardy, uh, Jesse Ventura, Superstar Billy Graham, um, Randy Orton, just to name a few, are all including in that list. So, yeah, Kurt Angle's not happy with that. But too little, too late. DVD's been out for half a year. You lucky you was ranked at all.
Screw.
You lucky that some WWE superstars you have worked with hasn't even forgotten about you. You know, you're lucky to be ranked at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff like this. People are always gonna think, oh, he's ranked too high, he's ranked too low. You know what I'm saying? It's sad. It's totally sad. You know, focus on Impact. Don't even worry about what WWE doing, what they're not doing. Because Evo says bleep. Well, fuck Angle. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. Speaking of Kurt Angle, we're going to talk more on him on the Impact side of things a little bit later on in the show, because Impact got plenty of things coming out. Back to Randy Orton for a little bit. He's finally about to have his first ever WWE DVD coming out called The Evolution of the Viper, taking a look back at his career up to this point. It's going to feature matches between he and Edge. I think some matches with Christian is going to be on there. John Cena, Batista, Triple H, Mick Foley. The list goes on and on. Randy Orton, I can't believe it's taken the WWE that long for him to finally get a DVD. He's been there for 6, 7, 8 years. Well, 7 or 8 years. I can't believe it's taken the WWE that long to finally give Randy Orton a DVD based on his wrestling career. It is also going to take a look back at his wrestling career before the WWE, when he was part of Ohio Valley Wrestling. So, and Randy Orton being the third generation superstar, he'll talk about what it's like to be the third generation wrestler. You know, you're going to see footage of his family, you know, take him behind the scenes of WrestleMania 27. I know you all, Andrew. You're going to get that Randy Orton DVD. So that's the latest DVD that they got coming out. It's coming out next Tuesday. And so go get that if you're a Randy Orton fan. The Evolution of the Viper. That's a good. I think that's a real good title for him. You know, he's called the Viper, Apex Predator, and our guest is calling in right now. So let me go ahead and add her to the conference here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined with our guest at this time, coming from Las Vegas, Nevada. Her name is Tara Calloway. She's joining us right now. Good afternoon, Tara.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Tara, you with us?
I'm sorry? I'm cutting in and out. I am here.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Well, we thank you for joining us tonight here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. I know you tweeted me over an hour ago you was on the road, but we thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, so why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
I am a Las Vegas-based independent wrestler. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years. You know, and I've started traveling out, branching out. Now I'm ready to get my name out there, and I'm ready to take on the world.
So I noticed that you started your career as a valet before you ended up becoming a wrestler. Um, did you being a valet help you become a better wrestler? As far as you at ringside, you get to look at the wrestlers and how they unfold and everything. Do you think you being a valet first help your career?
I really think so. When I first started and I got to go out there as well, I always was nervous as I was for my first match because, you're in front of the crowd, you're in front of the camera, and as a valet, you even have things that you need to remember. And, so I got all the crowd experience and I got listened to the wrestlers, and I got to study the wrestlers from right there. And so when I got into, my first match, I was so used to the camera and I was so used to the crowd that it just was second nature for me to go out there, and all I had to think about was my match.
Who would you consider your favorite wrestlers growing up?
My favorite wrestler of all time is William Regal, and it will always be my favorite wrestler.
Interesting, William Regal, who's still in the WWE, believe it or not. Tara, who would you consider like some of your favorite matches or favorite opponents that you've faced?
Right now, my favorite opponent to date is actually a guy. His name is Tony Leo. He's one of the guys that I credit to bringing me up in this business. He didn't. When I first started training and I was getting down on myself, he never let me quit. He never let me, say, okay, I don't want to do this. He was always on my butt. He was always just like, no, you can do this. And then I got to have a match with him about a year into my career, and it went amazing. And then I got to have a rematch with him at the last show that my home Fed had, and it was amazing. And it's just one of the things, getting to work the guy who brought you up in wrestling and the guy that you really respect. It was really great. Other than that, I love working Amanda and Buggy, who are both SoCal workers that I work with a lot.
So, you obviously you wrestle not just against men, and you also wrestle against women. What was it like wrestling against guys compared to women? Do you feel like not holding back? Do you feel like just treat me like any other competitor? Don't go easy on me. Just treat me like everybody else. I mean, what was that like?
Well, when I first started training, I was the only girl. I was brought up by men in this business. I was brought up by some of the guys. They told me, "You're not a girl in this ring. You are a guy. You are going to be treated like one." And I got just as hard as everybody else. I took everything that every guy did. So I was so used to wrestling men and like taking on the guys and having to be tougher just because the men do hit harder. And then I used my first opponent against a female. It was a little different because, there's a different anatomy. There's a different way that women wrestle women and women wrestle men. And I kind of had to adjust. But now I've gotten it down to where, wrestling men is second nature and wrestling women is second nature. It's just, you have to tweak yourself a little bit. And with the guys, you just got to be a little more brutal, and you got to realize that even though they may be smaller than you in size, they still get stronger than you because they are, they are guys. And the women, you got to, you can't take it easy on them either. Otherwise, you're just going to have, the girls that are in WWE where, they wouldn't stand up to a guy. So the girls in the Indies kind of have to be a little tougher because you never know if you will end up wrestling a guy or not.
I hear you on that one. What would you consider what are your favorite moves you like to use on your opponents? Signature moves, finisher moves. What are your favorite moves you like to use on your opponents?
My favorite moves right now, my signatures are I do a swinging neck breaker. That seems to be my favorite. I do the double arm clothesline. I love sidewalk slams. And my finisher is actually an RKO.
All right. For those who just joining us, we are live with Tara Calloway, all the way from Las Vegas. Now you mentioned you mentioned Amanda, and I looked at your schedule on your website. You're gonna be facing Amanda several times this month. So why don't you talk about the upcoming matches you have?
Right now, I have, like this Sunday, I'll be wrestling Amanda at Lucha Pro in Los Angeles. And her and I have been having a really brutal feud there. And we just, every match we've just been taking each other to our limits. Like, we've been hitting each other harder and harder each match. And the match following that on the 11th, I have the match with her for the Lucha Pro Women's title. And this will be her second title match with me.
And you are currently the champion of Lucha Pro, correct?
Yes, I am currently the Lucha Pro champion, and I defeated Amanda July 3rd for the vacant title. So,
when you first won the championship, what was the feeling? What was it like knowing that you're a champion? You worked so hard, coming from valeting, and now you're a wrestler, and now you're a champion. What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. I never expected to be a champion, and I never expected to be a champion this early on in my career. I've only been actively wrestling like every weekend since February. Other than that, during my career, I've only had like 2 or 3 other matches. So, I've come such a long way in such a short period of time, but I never expected to get it. And then finally, when you get the title in your hand, and you're just like, wow, like I really have gotten this far. It's a great feeling. It warms your heart, and especially when the fans are all on their feet and cheering for you that you won. It's great. It's an amazing feeling.
Now, what do you like being the most? Do you like being the baby face, likes to be cheered on, or do you like being the heel, getting booed and and stuff?
I adore being a baby face because being a baby face, I just get to be a louder version of myself. I love being out there. I love pumping up the fans. I love making the fans, get excited. I am a good heel. I could easily, be heel, but at the same time, it's just not my nature. When I was a valet as a heel, I made the kid cry, and I felt horrible for a day. I know it's just, I am such a baby face in real life that's how I am. I prefer to be a baby, and that's, I can be a heel, but baby face is definitely the way to go for me.
That's definitely cool. You can mix things up a little bit. That was very interesting about being a heel, and people got to understand, regardless whether it's a live event, whether it's WWE, TNA, or indie. Y'all characters. Y'all portray as characters out there, and y'all just out there competing and putting up a good show.
Yeah, it's people sometimes don't realize it's a character, and I've gotten some really nasty emails and really nasty comments for me being a heel, but you can't take it. It's just part of who you are. You gotta take it.
Haters can't get enough of them.
Haters.
So, let me ask you this: how do you feel about women wrestling in general, as far as WWE and Impact and so forth? How do you feel about where women wrestling is today?
Well, I don't think women's wrestling is what it could be. Back when, Trish and all them were around, it was good, but now I'm not trying to, hype up WWE, because I really hate the women's wrestling in WWE, but when they brought, Natty and Beth in to be, the Divas of Doom and to destroy the Divas, I was excited. I was like, good, WWE realizes their mistake. They realize that they're just putting Barbie dolls out there. And then they dropped the ball with that completely for 3 weeks, just not having Beth and Natalia doing anything. And it's just, the women's wrestling on WWE, yeah, they're getting better. Eve is a good wrestler, but, the booty popping thing is really old. Kelly is getting better, but it's not something I want to watch. I'd rather watch Impact, where the women's wrestling in Impact isn't that bad. I really look up to Mickie James. I really look up to Tara, and I'll be actually wrestling Winter very soon, and I look up to her as well. And, these women, at least in Impact, are trying harder than the ones in WWE. And, on the indie scene, we have Shimmer, which is amazing, and these women in Shimmer are, kicking butt and taking names, and they're not getting anywhere for it because WWE, wants Barbie dolls. So the indie scene is much better than WWE and TNA, but out of the three, WWE is the worst, and then TNA is just right barely above them.
I think we all can agree that Impact has the more better, well-trained wrestlers. Where when you at WWE, it's more, uh, I guess you could say Barbie doll. I would probably say, those that's not trained long enough to, take the woman division where it needs to be. Um, so let me ask you this, Tara. You've been in the indie scene for quite a while now. Is it a goal of yours at some point to be in the WWE or Impact?
Well, I think anybody in the indies, whether they say they don't want to make this WWE or TNA, or Impact, they know that, there's always that chance, that 1 in a million chance that you might make it. And I certainly wouldn't mind being offered. However, I don't know if I would be able to handle the WWE just because, I'm not some little Barbie doll. I do have a Mickey James type figure. I'm a little bit bigger, and they fired Mickey James because she was fat. And if that's what they classify as fat, then I don't really need to sit there and starve myself just to be on TV. I would much rather go to Impact where I could wrestle women who, I do see as good women wrestlers, and I really wouldn't have to worry so much as being, anorexic that these divas have to be. And so I mean, I'm sure if I was offered the position, I could see myself going there, and yeah, it is a goal to at least making it somewhere, but it is a 1 in a million shot. But you just got to keep your hopes up and know that everything is possible.
Anything is possible. And I got my friend Andrew, who's under the username Brownie Master. He's from Kentucky, and he wants to say hello to you. He's just saying hello in the chat room.
Well, hello there.
Now, I want to ask you about your website, theterracalloway.com. Did you make that website yourself?
I have made that website myself, and I'm actually currently making websites for other people. I'm a tech geek. I'm not gonna lie, I am a tech geek. So yes, I make the website.
Hey, that's cool. Because not a whole lot of people have their profession and then have their own, website, and you obviously built it from the ground up. So more power to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go check it out. It is theterracalloway.com. That's TheTerracallaway.com. That is the website. And her YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook links are all posted on there. You can also check out some merchandise, t-shirts, and autographed pictures. And go check her out. And if you're in the Las Vegas and LA area, you can catch her in action. Go to theterracalloway.com for more info. I got one more question I want to ask you. Was you in Las Vegas for the WWE show when CM Punk had his infamous went?
Yes, I was. That was the live show. I was at the show, and that whole thing was going on with Punk, and I was just on my Twitter because I knew, once Punk started talking, I knew. And I was on Twitter, and everyone's blowing up, and everyone was so mad at me for being there live.
I thought that was, to me, the funny thing about it is when he was wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt when he had that win. I mean, he wasn't wearing a CM Punk t-shirt or a Nexus t-shirt. He was just wearing and you know how Punk gets in that mood when he just feels he needs to say something, and he's going to say it regardless, and no one could do anything about it. He just had that moment, and that was crazy. That was bizarre, and it kind of made him a bigger name than he is right now. So, I can't be mad at the dude for, he speak his mind. There's some things I don't agree with, but that's Punk. That's what he does.
Yeah, it was definitely it was one of those things I was really glad that I got to see it live. So,
That's something that 5, 10 years and now people gonna be like, did you hear what that dude said on national television? Oh man. So Tara, before we let you go, I would like for you to do what is called a station ID for the show. All you gotta do is say your name, and right after you say your name, you say you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Perfect.
All right, go right
This
ahead.
is Terry. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Okay. This is Terry Calloway, and you're listening to Triple Threat. Triple. Yeah, stop. You put pressure on me. Why don't put pressure on me like that?
That's okay. That's okay. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. It's okay.
Yeah, it's Triple Threat Wrestling Radio, correct?
Yes.
Tongue twister. Okay. This is Terry Calloway, and you're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Perfect. Again, everybody, check out the website, theterracalloway.com. Tara, it's good to finally interview you. I know you're on the road, but we appreciate you joining us. Best of success goes out to you. You have a good afternoon / evening, because I know it's still early up there on the West Coast.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. That was Tara Calloway just joined us. We're going to go ahead and get to this day in wrestling history. And then we will get to the Impact portion of the show. So, Jeff, feel free to speak now.
I'm here, brother.
Okay. Here we go. This day in wrestling history on September the 1st. Did you know on this day, back in 1986, was the NWA Battle at the Belts? 1986 WCCW Labor Day Star Wars. I wonder what they got the Star Wars part from. 1990 NJPW's first show. 2005 the final Thursday episode of SmackDown. And 2006-2007 was the PWG Battle of Los Angeles. Some title changes. Jimmy Superfly Snuka defeated Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to win the Mid-Atlantic NWA United States Heavyweight title. Dory Funk Jr. defeated Charlie Cook in 1981 to win the Florida State Heavyweight title. Barry Windham defeated Outlaw Juan Bass to win the Florida State Heavyweight title. 1986, the White Ninja defeated Tim Horner to win the NWA US Junior Heavyweight title. 1992, Ric Flair defeated the late Macho Man Randy Savage for the WWF Heavyweight title. Happy birthday goes out to Waka Waka, Public Enemy, not to be confused from the rap group. Happy birthday to the late Bam Bam Bigelow and KC Thunder. Also, happy birthday to Impact X Division Champion, Tag Team Champion Doug Williams, and Jay Youngblood passed away in 1985, and Boris Malenko also passed away on this day. And that is all that happened this day in wrestling history. So Ebo, she was here with us, and now she's gone. Thank you, Ebo, for listening. Andrew's still here with us. All right, let's go ahead and get to the Impact portion of the show, and we only have 11 minutes. So, not sure if you heard or not, but Sting will be facing Kurt Angle tonight. You got who else you have? You got Gunner going up against Rob Van Dam in a Bound for Glory series match. That would determine who will face who. Now, that would determine who will be in the Bound for Glory Final Four at the No Surrender pay-per-view next Sunday night. Not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday. So that should be an interesting RVD versus Gunner. You got Sting versus Kurt Angle. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels. That's coming up in Crimson Mr. Undefeated and all that, update on his condition after getting beat the living hell out of us by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is in dead last place in the Bound for Glory series. So he's at that point, hey, if I'm not going to compete for the number one contender spot, nobody's will. Matt Morgan is injured. Devon is injured. And now Crimson is injured, but he's not ruled out of the Bound for Glory series. So again, it will be Gunner versus RVD tonight. And the winner will obviously clinch their spot in the Bound for Glory series. So keep an eye on that. Not sure if you heard or not, but I think I talked a little bit about this a few weeks ago, actually last week, as Matt Hardy has been released by Impact. Also, Cookie, the Jersey Shore lookalike, she's been released as well.
Which Hardy?
Matt Hardy's been released by Impact. He's really going through some issues right now. And we all know the Hardys have issues, Jeff Hardy especially. But Matt Hardy, I never looked at him as a guy who anything like his brother Jeff. And that's probably a good thing or a bad thing, because if he would have went through what Jeff went through, he probably would have been a world champion himself. But Matt Hardy has been released by Impact. And Jeff Hardy made his return to Impact as of last week. So, and last time we heard from Jeff Hardy, he was part of the title picture, the World Heavyweight title picture. Took some time off, clear his head a little bit, but he's back. He's ready to roll. And we'll see what role he'll play in the upcoming No Surrender pay-per-view. Matt Hardy, I don't know what's wrong with that dude. He was posting videos talking about suicidal, talking about the end of the world from him. I mean, the guy he got some screws loose. Let's put it that way. The man has some screws loose. Issues, problems. I mean, it's similar to Jeff, but I don't think Jeff will ever say, I'm throwing my life away or something.
Nope.
But he just been reckless. Jeff Hardy has been very reckless. Even Matt Hardy's girlfriend thinks that he has a problem. When your friends and your girlfriend say you have a problem, you have a problem. So this may not be a good ending for Matt Hardy. He needs help. Just don't go in the same rehab that Scott Hall and Six Pac or whatever.
Why not? That'd be fun.
Probably good television, but not good for Matt. You just need to step away from that area. Just, get his life together before he can get back to wrestling. Again, that's what happened to Jeff. The only difference is he didn't get released. They told Jeff, hey, you're going through some personal issues. You take some time off. Take a couple of months off. And when you're good to go, we'll get you back in. And that's what happened to Jeff Hardy. Oh, and speaking of which, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Sting.
Yeah, what about him?
Sting has been trying to get Hulk Hogan to wrestle against him. However, Ric Flair has chimed in and said, hey, you want to go through the Hulkster, you got to go through the Nature Boy. And I said this last week, and I'll say it again. Who in the right mind at their point of their careers would want to see Hulk Hogan versus Sting or Flair versus Sting? This is not the 1990s, people. I mean, who in their right mind want to see those two wrestle? They're in their 50s, and Sting is 52 years old. I'm surprised you wrestle right past your 50s. People normally wrestle through their 40s and they're done with. But Hogan, Sting, Flair, they are the big stars. And as long as they're still around, Impact's going to be somewhat relevant. You said that like a few weeks ago when when you had your rant and everything. but
Right.
but as long as they still around, as long as they're still breathing, they're gonna be on for the long haul. Impact is going to hang on for all it can. Uh, you know what? I saved this last story especially for you because you are the sports guy and everything. Did you hear that Todd Grisham from WWE has left the WWE and has become an analyst for ESPN?
Who?
Todd Grisham. He's he's one of the he's one of the interview guys. He's the guy that does interviews. He does commentary on SmackDown occasionally.
Todd?
Todd Grisham. Todd Grisham is his name.
Yeah, that's the second guy that's left WWE that went to ESPN.
Yeah, the other one is Jonathan Coachman.
Yep.
Coach he's doing a good job up there on ESPN. Now
That's where he belongs.
You know, I've looked at Coach as more of an ESPN guy than a WWE guy. I mean, he had his moments, but to me, he just looked like a guy who just should be an ESPN. So I'm happy for the Coach. Finally, he's been with the ESPN for a couple of years now. So it's good to see him finally get that break. So good for you, Coach. As for Todd Grisham, he's done part time. He's like an analyst for Fox Sports for soccer, and I think he may end up doing some analyst work for MLS soccer games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, like what happened to the Coach. Don't expect him to be on Sports Center late at nights anytime soon. That's not, the Coach had to go through a lot to get to where he is today. So I see Todd Grisham probably being an analyst, a soccer analyst for ESPN. I don't see him being on Sports Center every single night. At least not right now anyway. You gotta pay your dues for ESPN. I mean, you're going for the worldwide leader of sports entertainment to the worldwide leader of sports. So there you go. Oh, one more story here. The Rock has apologized for misleading people on never leaving the WWE. A fan of Twitter asked if he regretted the whole "I'm not gonna leave" statement. Rock does not regret what he said. However, he felt he misled people with the notion that once he came back, he was going to be back full time. But all of a sudden, he's not in the WWE every single week because he is finishing up shooting the movie for G.I. Joe, second movie. But The Rock has already announced he will be back at Survivor Series at November, and he will be at WrestleMania facing John Cena next year. So The Rock finally manning up and apologizing for misleading people that he was never going to leave. I guess that's all people wanted to hear. And The Rock was like, you know what? I've been there, done that. I don't think I owe anybody anything, especially John Cena. But good to see that The Rock finally owning up to his baggage. Own up to the fact that he said he's not going to leave, and then all of a sudden he's doing another movie. So, at least The Rock own up to it. Good for Rocky. See you at Survivor Series and then WrestleMania.
Well, looks like we're out of here, huh, buddy?
Yeah, we are absolutely done. Thank you to Tara Calloway for calling in. Good hearing from her. Thank you everybody else for joining us. Don't forget 3-Way with Fire and Ice, hosted by former guest Amber O'Neal. That's tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on PW247radio.com. Don't forget, Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C officially makes the jump to Saturday nights this coming Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And since Jeff's taking the rest of the holiday weekend off, Web Bastard Sports Show will be on Tuesday at 7 East, 4 Pacific. We are done. Impact's coming up next. If you actually do give a damn, go watch it.
See you, buddy.
Thank you all for listening. You all have a good weekend. And that concludes another edition of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. You all have a good evening.